हेलो मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों। मैं हूं आपका दोस्त सचिन भारद्वाज और मैं हूं आपके सामने आज लेके कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ एजेंसी एंड काइंड्स ऑफ एजेंट। आज हम देखेंगे व्हाट इज कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ एजेंसी एंड काइंड्स ऑफ एजेंट। So let's start with the meaning and nature of agency. So this has been defined under section 182 of the Indian Contract Act 1872. The section 182 simply says that there were two parties, first was the principal and second is agent. The person who has been appointed by the party shall be called as an agent, and that appointed person who will work on the behalf of the party, that party shall be called as an principal. So there are two parties, principal and agent, in the contract of agency. What happens simply in the contract of agency, that one person appoints second person to interact with the third party for making the contract. So what is here happening here, the first party is appointing second party to make contract with the third party. So this second party is working as a link between the first party and third party. First party is called as a principal and the third party is another party with whom we want to make a contract. So the principal and agent is making this agency, and through this agency we are making a contract with the third party. This is called a contract of agency. And here there are two basic things here. First is representative character and second is derivative authority. So there must be two essential criteria here. We cannot say any kind of servant or casual employee as an agent, or the contract made by them is a contract of agency, because until and unless the persons are not fulfilling the two basic criteria, representative character and derivative authority, we cannot say that the contract is a contract of agency. So what is representative character? First, if the person is representing the another person for making the contract or making any kind of work with the third party, this is called a representative character. And the authority, if the principal is having some authority and he is delegating some work to the agent, and agent by using that authority is working and representing other party. So what the agent is doing, agent is deriving authority from the principal and working on the behalf of principal and interacting with the third party. So this is called the derivative authority. Okay. Now there is a case regarding this, the role of agent. The case is Krishna versus Ganpati. In this case, Justice Ramaswamy has elaborated the concept of agency, and very basically he said that in the legal sense every person is not an agent. Domestic servant and agricultural laborer and other employees, and the employees who are only aiding the agency or aiding the government is not an agent. So directly we cannot say that the person is an agent if the person is servant or agricultural laborer, or any person who is advising in business or is aiding in business cannot be said that he is an agent. So for being an agent, Justice Krishna, Justice Krishna here elaborated this, for being an agent there must be representative character and derivative authority. So we have to keep in mind that there are 2 points. First is representative character and second is derivative authority. There is a test of agency. In the test of agency also we have to keep in mind the two important points. First is representative character and second is derivative authority. Now here we will focus more that how the agent is representing and deriving the authority from the principal. Representative character means that agent is representing the principal, because the agent is working on the behalf of principal. If the agent goes to the third party and make contract on the behalf of principal, so he is representing his principal. And who has given this authority? The principal has given this authority to the agent. Until and unless the principal does not have any kind of authority, then the agent cannot have the authority. So if the agent is working on the behalf of principal and representing the third party, on the basis of any authority, then that authority is also derived from the principal. So this is called the derivating authority. The next point, these are the three examples by which you can understand it easily. So I am reading this example for you. A person was employed to give advice in business matters. He was only eating in business. He did not enjoy representative character and authority derivative. He was not an agent. So this example simply says that the person is only advising in business. He's only enjoying the business. He's not doing any kind of representative character work or any kind of authority derivative work. So he's not an agent. In the second example, you can see that a government appoint a dealer for distributing commodities among the consumers, and for this he just aiding the government. The person is aiding the government, though it is written in the contract that the person is an agent, but in reality if we check on the two criteria, first is representative character and second is derivative authority, then we will find that he is only aiding the government. He's not doing any extra work, so he's not an agent because he's not fulfilling the two basic criteria. But in the third example you can see that the person is fulfilling both the criteria, because government of India here has sent a person to the government of Nepal to represent the government of India, and for that representation the government of India has given the authority to procure the rice and get it milled in some particular specific mill of Bihar and to distribute it further in different states of India. So in this particular case, the agent is having the representative authority also from the government of India and also the derivative authority which he is deriving from the government of India. So this is a perfect example of agency. This is the most important case of Delhi Electric Supply Undertaking versus Basanti Devi. In this case, there were two parties, LIC and Delhi Electric Supply Undertaking, which we can call it a DESU. So LIC and DESU were the two parties there. LIC was the principal and DESU was the agent of it. LIC has given the work to DESU, that DESU has the responsibility. It was working in two parts. First, to deduct the amount from the salary of employees and further remit it to the LIC. So DESU has done only half work. DESU has not remitted the amount. So now the question arises when one of the party was the Basanti Devi, the husband of Basanti Devi died, and the Basanti Devi was seeking the compensation, the insurance amount from the LIC, and the LIC argued that we cannot give insurance amount because we were not paid any kind of premium. But the Basanti Devi has said that the LIC and DESU were the agent and principal, so whatever the DESU has done shall be deemed to done by the LIC also. So the act of the DESU is also the act of LIC. So LIC is responsible for it, and LIC must pay all the insurance amount to the Basanti Devi. The Supreme Court very perfectly held in this case that LIC has appointed DESU as an agent to collect premium. They collected it but did not remit it to LIC. An act of an agent is an act of principal. So the principal was held bound. In this case, Basanti Devi is entitled to claim life insurance amount. Okay, so here in this case, Basanti Devi is entitled to claim life insurance amount. This was the section 182 which we have dealt. Now we come to the 183, that who may employ an agent. Now here we are talking about the principal. The principal may employ an agent. So any person who is of age of majority according to the law to which he is subject and who is of sound mind may employ an agent. So for becoming a principal, the person must be of age of majority, which is 18 years according to the Indian Majority Act. And the second thing is the person must be of sound mind. The second point here is that the who may be employed as an agent. So here the any person may be employed as an agent, whether it is a major party or minor party. So here is a very relaxed conditions are here that the any minor parties can also be appointed as an agent. But the main important thing is that if you are appointing a minor party as an agent, then the responsibility cannot be imposed on the minor person. And the third point is consideration not necessary. So for the creation of the agency, consideration is not necessary. So all the 3 points we will discuss further one by one. First point is agent need not be competent person to contract. So here the task of agent is to connecting link between the principal and third party. So agent is working as a connecting link, and the most important thing is here that the agent must be competent party, but if you are appointing a minor agent according to para second of section 184, that there will not be any kind of liability of the minor. All the liability shall be of the principal. So principal must be careful in appointing any kind of agent. If the agent is minor, then principal have to keep in mind that all the responsibility shall be of the principal. So in terms of liability, the principal should appoint the major agent, but if the principal is appointing minor agent, then there is no invalidity in it. The only thing is that the liability shall be imposed on the principal party. Second is no consideration is necessary. So what happened in case of contract of agency? In the contract of agency, the consideration is not necessary and the agent is paid by way of commissions, and the commissions are agreed between the principal and agent on the basis of agreement. In the contract of agency, at the moment we appoint the agent in the contract of agency, that appointment in itself is a consideration. So there is no need of further consideration for the creation of agency. But now the question is, what is the benefit of agent? In this case, the agent shall be benefited by way of commissions. So agents are remunerated by way of commissions in the contract of agency. The third point is both the parties, the principal and the third party must be competent party. So the principal and the third party must be the major party and the parties of sound mind. This is an example of power of attorney. So in this example, there was a parties A and B, and A has appointed B by power of attorney. But before the power of attorney must be acted upon, the A has become the person of unsound mind. So the answer of this question is no, because the party has become unsound mind at the time the power of attorney must be acted upon. So both the party, the principal party and the third party must be competent party. And if at the time of execution the A was competent, but when the power of attorney must be acted upon at that time, at the time of acting on the ground level, the A has become unsound mind. So this contract cannot be enforced. Now we come to the difference between agent and servant. Sometimes there is a question or confusion regarding the agent and servant. That sir, whether the servant is also comes under the category of agent. So it is not like that. Servant has a different characteristics and agent has a different characteristics. So For the clarification, Justice Bhagwati in Lakshmi Narayan Ram Gopal and Sons versus Hyderabad government case, while quoting Powell and Halsbury, given some distinction between the agent and servant. The first distinction was an agent has the authority to act on the behalf of principal and to create contractual relations between the principal and the third party. This kind of power is not generally enjoyed by a servant. So servant is not able to make any kind of contractual relations with the third party, but the agent can represent and can make contractual relations between the principal and third party. In the second point, you can read that servant works under the direct control and supervision of the principal, but the agent does not work under the direct control and supervision of the principal. So servant and master, these are control and supervision, but in case of agent and principal, there is no control and supervision. Okay, there is a difference. Third difference, the mode of remunerations. So agents are paid by way of commissions, and servants are paid by way of salary and wages. Fourth point, a master is liable for the wrong of his servant in it when it occurs in the course of employment, but the agent is liable, sorry, the principal is liable for the wrongs of agent if it is done within the scope of authority. So this is a very important difference between the master and agent, sorry, servant and agent. In case of a course of employment, there is a liability of master. In case of scope of authority, there is a liability of principal. So agent's work must be there in the scope of authority, whatever the authority has been derived from the principal, and the master's liability, sorry, servant's liability must be under the course of employment. Suppose there is a 9 to 5 job. In the 9 to 5 job, servant is committing any kind of mistake. In that case, master shall be liable, but under the scope of authority, even after at any time under the scope of authority, if the agent is committing any kind of wrong, then principal shall be liable for it. And the last important difference is servant usually serves only one master, but an agent may work for several principal at the same time. So the last difference may not be relevant in the current time because there is no particular definition of servant, and we cannot say that employee is also servant or servant is an employee. So this is a very vague kind of difference in my personal opinion. So we move further to the kinds of agents. So there are several kinds of agents: general agents which are appointed for general purposes, specified agents are for specific and few particular kind of purposes. Universal agents are doing both kind of works, general and specific both. So there may be number of agents, but on the basis of business world, there are four kinds of agency. First is auctioneer, second is factor, third is broker, and fourth is delegator agent. In case of auctioneer, you can see that the auctioneer is a person who can purchase the goods and he can sell the goods to the highest bidder in the auction, and he can sue for his price in his own name, because if the party is not paying the price after buying the goods, then he can also sue the party on his own name. And the most important thing is that in auctioneer, unlike a factor, he has only a particular lien on the goods for his charges. Because what auctioneer is doing, auctioneer is selling a particular goods. So if the person is not paying the charges or not paying the price money, then he can keep that goods as a lien. He can keep that good until and unless the price has not been paid. So it is a kind of particular lien. But in case of factor, in factor there is a general lien, because in factor the area is very wider. A factor is a person who is entrusted with the possession of goods and who has the authority to buy, sell, or otherwise deal with the goods or merchandise. So you can see the factor is a very wider definition and wider than auctioneer. Though the auctioneer and factors are similar kind, but the area is wider for the factor. Now we come to the broker. As all we know what the broker does. Broker helps in making the contract and bargaining the contracts, and the broker receive the brokerages. So whatever the commissions broker receives is called brokerage, and in ordinary course of business, he negotiates and make the contract for the sale and purchase of goods, and he acts in the name of his principal. So the point to be noted here is that in auctioneer and factor, what the auctioneer and factor was doing, he is suing or he is acting on his own name. But now broker will act on the name of his principal only. And the most interesting is Dell Crater agent. So why this agent is called the Dell Crater agent? Because we are giving some extra commission to the Dell Crater agent. And why we are giving some extra commission to the Dell Crater agent? Because Dell Crater agent is ensuring that my contract shall be performed by the other party. So in case of any insolvency or in any case, if the party is not performing, the other party is not performing my contract, then Dell Cater agent shall be liable for it. This is a case Courtourier versus Hasti related to the Dell Cater agent, in which during the voyage the goods were sold by the captain of the ship because the goods were losing its commercial value, but captain of ship has not informed to the parties. So this is a failure on the part of buyer. So in this case, Dell Cater agent was held liable, because this is very important here, that if you are paying any kind of extra charges to a party, then it becomes the more responsibility. So Dell Cater agent has the more than the ordinary agent's liability. So here the Dell Cater agent shall be liable for the contract. These are the points we have already discussed, that Dell Cater agent will work as an insurer as well as the surety. So in case of insolvency also the Dell Cater agent shall be liable, but these are the but the most important here is the two situations where the Dell Cater agent shall not be liable. The first is the any kind of market stringencies. In any kind of market stringencies, the Dell Cater agent shall not be liable. Okay, this any kind of market stringencies, okay, Dell Cater agent shall not be liable. And the second thing is, if there is a liability or default on the part of principal, okay, then the Dell Cater agent shall not be liable. Dell Cater agent shall be liable for his own fault only, not the fault of principal. Fine. These are some other agents: commission agents and banker. So commission agents are the agents who takes or who are paid by way of commissions. So broker, factor and auctioneer is also the commission agents. The banker, the new thing is the banker is also a kind of agent, because the relationship between a banker and the customer is that of a creditor and debtor. However, when he collects checks or buys or sells securities on the behalf of his client, he acts as an agent of the customer. A banker has the right of general lien in respect of the general balance of account. So here the banker is also a kind of agent. So थैंक यू सो मच मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों, आज के लिए इतना ही। कल फिर मिलते हैं एक नई वीडियो के साथ। तब तक के लिए नमस्कार। चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, लाइक कीजिए और देखते रहिए मेरा चैनल। थैंक यू सो मच।